Oh yeah, meeting is streaming live on YouTube. Oh, nice.
Hi
Yeah,
guys, whoever's watching, or just the three of us watching ourselves.
That's okay.
always
They're going to
watching
save it
that.
anyway, so people are going to watch it later. A few more.
Okay, okay, okay. Hi.
Okay, going live. Oh, we're live now. Oh shit, we're live. Wow, cool, awesome. Hey,
Hi.
Hi.
okay, hello everyone who's watching this live. My name is Anuya. As I hope you already know, considering this is happening on the Books on Dos YouTube channel. My name is Anuya, and this is the Shiny Happy Book Club July Live. Now, as you guys all know, and in case you don't know, the Shiny Happy Book Club is sort of like a confluence between reading and mental health. And it was founded by Sharon and I, the two people behind Books on Toast, and our friend Shine Bhatt, who runs a platform called Here Comes the Sun, which focuses predominantly on mental health, mental illness, bringing awareness about issues like depression, etc. So the three of us one day we just realized that the one thing in common that we all had that really helped us to deal with all of our mental health issues that took us through a difficult time, they were books, right? Books made things better always. Anytime we were sad, books picked us up, they cheered us up. So we thought, why not build something that takes this thought ahead, that gives this a platform. And so the Shiny Happy Book Club was born. Now, every month for the Shiny Happy Book Club, we have some amazing curators. And what they do is they recommend one fiction book and one non-fiction book. So if you love either or want to experiment with either, you can pick the one you want to read. And then all you really need to do to participate is read with us and then join us for this session that we do at the end of the month every month. Now, I'm going to stop talking because we have with us my favorite internet couple. Okay.
No, we are a
I
couple in real life also.
and my favorite couple in real life, but they are a lot more people know them on the internet, so that's why my favorite celebrity couple. And I always joke that they are my Kardashians because I would much rather watch their life than
Oh,
watch
that's
the Kardashians.
so
Yeah, so that's why they are here. And Avantika, Mohan, and Durjoy Dutta. Yay!
Yay!
Yay! I'm so happy that you guys did this. And I'm so glad. And I love your choices of books. But before we go any further, would you guys be okay to introduce yourselves to anyone here who might not know who you are?
Go on, you guys.
So,
I'll do it. You want me to do it?
yeah, yeah, please do
Please
it.
do.
Please do
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Durjoy Datta is a best-selling author and he is a famous, wildly popular screenwriter, right?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Durjoy
am I
is shy.
Huh.
what?
Durjoy is shy to accept all these things. He's a shy to
He's
accept all these things.
amazing. There is a video by Durjoy Datta on our channel where Kunal Kamra interviews him. And you know, it's so much fun to meet people who can hold their own in front of camera. I mean, Arnav Goswami couldn't do it. So these two also it happen. It's hilarious. And
Yeah.
that is when I became a Durjoy fan. That is when I saw him in that interview and I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea. And that's when I decided I loved him. And then of course I got introduced to his wife Avantika on the internet and on Instagram and in real
Yeah.
life for a few
And in
influencer
real life, once, and I had the most awkward conversation with you, which I kept playing in my head and thinking, oh my God, why did I say
Yeah.
that to her? Because how,
Anxiety.
yeah, I had plus,
what a segue.
yeah.
What a segue. Yeah.
So, yeah, so
So
and
I just
must tell
I want
people
everyone to
whoever
know
watching.
now.
So, like usually I'm a very confident person and I don't like get nervous, etc. because I don't care much. Uh, but when they said, like, when you actually mentioned that the live is going to be with you, I'm very fond of you. And is it okay if I go all fangirl on you? Whenever, like, you message me or,
See,
like,
now you have
like
started her. Now she'll
something,
keep talking.
now something you put on my Instagram, I get very, like, excited. Then I don't reply also. Because I'm like, what should be the most sensible answer to this? So I asked Durjoy.
Sensible, grammatically
Correct.
correct answer to this, which is also a little
I'm
bit
like,
cool.
Guys,
I'm like, I have to reply to Anuya. And it's like,
No,
oh,
I can just guess. So whenever she uploads a picture and I see, so I'm signed into her account as well. Okay, she's a little, because she uploads very ajib sa captions and then I have to go edit it. So I was like,
Oh, her captions are great. I love them.
so no, I have to just remove the capitalizations in every word. So when I see, okay, Anuya has commented, then I know that she's happy. There are like 4 or 5 people whom she looks forward to. Like if they have validated her,
Then
then
that's it.
then
Yeah,
it's
I
okay.
really seek
Then
validation from you.
I'm one of them. Oh, this
Yeah,
is not a shiny happy book club. This is a mutual
the mutual
admiration
mutual
club.
stuff.
appreciation
Yeah.
club. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
mutual
So your
admiration.
book
so
yes.
let's go on.
Yes. No, I just want to tell everybody that when I met her, I met her as Durjoy's wife, but now Durjoy is Avantika's husband. That's how it has.
Yay!
I don't mind.
We love that.
I don't mind. It's fine.
That's what it is now. And yeah, I mean, you should follow both of them on Insta if you don't. I love Avantika's feed. It's amazing. I want clothes. I want her clothes. I want her life.
Bring us all.
I want
Please.
her
When
baby,
I
but
come to
I
Bombay,
want
I'll
my
bring you.
husband.
Yeah, please.
Ha. We are going to do a makeover party. Okay. As soon as
Done.
this ends,
I'll
we're going
bring you.
shopping.
Okay, please ask us a question. Otherwise, I'll really like keep talking to you only. Like I swear, I can.
Yeah, it'll feel like a
Like,
friends catching
yeah.
up Zoom call, and
Yeah.
everybody else will be like, "Fuck this, we're not this
You know.
Book kind.
book
Yeah.
kind." Yeah, Durjoy, let's talk about your latest book and tell us a little bit about what you're up to right now and what are you writing. Just bring us up to speed with your life.
So the last book that I wrote was Wish I Could Tell You. It was last year, I think July or something. And since then, I've been struggling to finish my next book. But since the lockdown happened, everyone's at home all the time, which means that I've pushed the book like
Yeah.
months from now. But yeah,
Yeah.
still struggling. But now, like, I'm s- I'm not even driven to finish the book because I can't send people to bookstores. Like no one's going to risk their life to risk to read a Durja Datta book. So it's a strange place to be in. So yeah, I'm writing my next book. चल रहा है अभी.
That's
Probably in December it will come out. December, January. If
that's
things
amazing. Does it have a name yet?
no, it
It
doesn't
doesn't.
even have an end yet. It doesn't even have a middle yet. It's just random sentences floating about in different documents.
But you can send it to her. You need to read it. We'll send it
Arey,
to you.
she'll rip it apart. No, 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 no.
Guys, I resent this. I mean,
So I call Anuya Hermione. So this is the kind of energy we have of her. Like we think of her
that's
as
too much.
Hermione. Yeah, no, seriously. And I
I
even got you socks, Hermione socks from England. Sorry,
I'll give you
moving
the
away from the
I'll give you
topic.
the final draft and say that these are just notes of the book. I'm still figuring out the
You're making
story.
me seem,
And
I
then you
make
will
a lot of
review,
book
just notes, very good.
you're making me seem like a snob. I make a lot of chuddy
That
jokes
is that is
also.
also another segue because it talks about snobbery as well. The book is not here, but status anxiety
Ah,
talks about how the word snob was originated and like why do we indulge in snobbery or why does snobbery affect us so much. तो वो भी है. तो अगर अब दोबारा से यूज करना तो वो भी कर सकते हैं.
so then let's talk about the book. Why did you choose status anxiety as your pick of the month for this platform?
Okay, so first of all, I like to admit that although I read a fair amount of books, I absolutely do not remember anything. मतलब, if I read a book, after a week, it is all gone. Like, for example, for a long series, say, like Game of Thrones. 6 book पढ़ने के बाद भी, if you ask me name 4 characters, I'll be like, नहीं पता. Give me half an hour, I'll think about it. Uh, so I do not remember what the book is about, but I clearly remember what it made me feel. So
Hmm.
status anxiety was that book that sort of validated a lot of my behaviors and
Hmm.
sort of guided me into thinking a certain way.
Hmm.
For example, this entire snobbery thing. So,
Hmm.
we constantly try to impress the snobs
Hmm.
while also pillaring them in our कि वो तो कितना snob है, वो तो ऐसे बात करता है. So
Hmm.
so it made me understand both these behaviors. And and once and so what Alan De Botton does is he breaks it down for the layman that this is how you are supposed to think. So now
mm,
every time an incident like this happens, I
mm,
try to break it down that why am I feeling this way? Why is that person acting this way? What should I feel? And
mm,
what I'm feeling is valid. So
mm,
once I compartmentalize these four things, I'm so tired that I forget to be angry.
mm,
So I think that is what real. So in the entire book, it just kept validating my behavior and kept pushing me to analyze relationships in that form. That
mm,
uh, it's so when we a very simple thing when we talk about trolls. So that's why people say,
mm,
"Oh, he's a frustrated guy." Of course, it seems like a very blanket statement. You are trying to cover things up and you are trying to move on. But if you just stop and think and follow how he says it, that okay, let's go about maybe he belongs to a certain class, he belongs to a certain family, he belongs to a certain he has probably had the worst day in his life, or probably he's paid by someone to do this. So once you
mm,
break down all of that behavior, you either justify, okay, fine, it's it's why, I mean, there's no fault with me. If
mm,
he's behaving in that sense, there's probably some fault with him, but that fault I understand. I don't hate him for it. कि
mm.
हाँ तेरे को sex नहीं मिल रहा, so you are doing this. So I understand, but I understand from a kindness perspective. So I think that is what the book left me with, that everything that happens that angers you or that makes you very, very anxious, you just stop, think, and break that behavior down because you'll find the root cause of it. So
Mm.
yeah, I think that's why I remember this book, and that's why I think this is the first book that I started from, and then read all of his books. And
Yeah.
there are so many behaviors that I recognize that I thought only I was experiencing this, and then I realized I'm not special.
Mm.
ये तो
Mm.
सब सबके इतने कॉम्प्लेक्स थॉट्स है, ये क्या बकवास चल रहा है?
Always good to feel that way. Always good.
I'm just one of many. So
Yeah,
yeah.
always good. Oh, warm. So you said,
Share it with me as well. Like while you were reading, you're suddenly like, oh, ऐसे होता है. Like,
Yeah, so there was a chapter on, I think, what do frank people think, how do frank people behave, and how do introverted people behave. And so I
hmm,
said that, okay, so one of the points that he has made, that people who are frank, because they themselves get over things very quickly. So if they say something, if they hear something off-putting, they will feel bad and they will move on. And
hmm,
they expect the same kind of behavior आगे से भी, कि अगर मैं कुछ ऑफ
hmm,
हैंडेड बोल भी दूं, so
hmm.
like that first interaction between you and Avantika was odd. Now that would have haunted me for the rest of my life. I would have never
I
gone to a
believe that.
party after that. But because Avantika is a frank person and she thinks that everyone would get over it like after a week, a month. So she can get to normal very, very quickly. Since I am not that, since other people do not get over things quickly, they prefer not to say things also. And
Hmm.
because they prefer not to say things, they end up saying nothing at all.
Yeah, yeah.
So these are little things that I was like, oh, we are two different people, and इसने दोनों के बारे में बिल्कुल सही diagnose किया. So I used to get very
Wow.
excited
Yeah,
कि
and then you used to
ये तो
share it with
इसको
me.
तो मेरे बारे में पता है, तो मेरा दोस्त है, I did not know.
Wow. That's
So
awesome. I now you're making a very good case for me to read a non-fiction book. Is what I say to everybody I talk to who tells me that a non-fiction book is good. But I might actually pick
no, no.
this one
So
up.
I tell you what book you can read. I think
Which
the
book?
book is called Love Essays. I'm not sure. I think it's called Love Essays. So what he does is he tells a normal story, and
Huh,
बीच में he starts to analyze the behavior. And the
huh.
story, you don't know whether it's fictional or non-fictional.
Oh
So love
wow,
ऐसे
that's
the
a
book, हाँ, तो फिर वो ऐसे it starts as कि हाँ वो लड़का उस लड़की से मिला, उसको ये हुआ, and then he
huh,
suddenly goes into the philosophy of that meeting.
huh.
And so you don't, and it's nowhere in the book is it written that is the story fictional, non-fictional, etc.,
Huh.
etc. So you
Oh,
can,
oh.
तो इसलिए वो धोखा है, वो धोखे
So
से तुम्हें
that's like the
non-fiction
big.
बना देता है.
Uh,
तो वो
you were
सही.
talking about kindness, and I thought that would be a good point to take this conversation to Avantika's pick.
Yeah,
Because I think both your books sort of then, they bleed into each other, they feed off each other because Wonder
yeah,
seems like a simplified,
Version
fictionalized
of,
form.
yeah, it's true, it's true.
Yeah, of,
Yeah,
yes, right. So,
yeah. Like
Avantika,
it's
tell us
not
why
complex
you
that
chose
a
it.
person like me who can easily read it. Like I'm not a book,
I
but
I loved it.
did
I
you cry
loved it.
at the
I
end?
finished
Yeah,
it
it's so
in a
beautiful,
day.
right?
Yes, yes, it's beautiful. And like, tell us what you love the most about Wonder.
So I'll tell you a backstory before I start to talk about the book. Okay, so I want to tell people who do not know me that I'm a flight attendant, and I mean, yeah, well, so then what would happen is that when we are on board, like I have had so much experience with people that when I look at people, I know where are they from, like nationalities, and it's not just the appearance; it's the way they dress up and everything. So what happens? I'm 99% of the times, even if I tell you one person is from Kazakhstan, you'll be right. Like I can also differentiate between Uzbeki and a Kazakhi. So this is the kind
Wow.
of, yeah, like
It's very creepy.
yeah, like I can
Yeah.
actually, I go ahead bet
It,
with
it
Durjoy.
it used to be our dating game
Yeah,
when we
I will like,
started dating.
yeah, and we see a Firangi and I'll be like, this person is from there.
And at
And
that point in time, मतलब I was so short sighted कि मुझे लगता था सफेद आदमी है तो
and
इंग्लिश तो
then
बोलता ही होगा.
yeah. And green, yeah.
What I'd assume. Yeah.
So
Safed Aadmi is very funny. So, sorry, Avantika, go on.
So what actually happens is that when we look at people, we as flight attendants, because we're going to be dealing with them, we
Hmm.
usually make up our mind, and that's not just limited to us because we are in service industry. So people
Hmm.
behave a certain way if they're from a certain place because of their mental conditioning or like culture, etc. Right?
Hmm.
Um, and we used to put them in categories. So say like this person from here would do this and ask for this,
Hmm.
like if I'm doing like this used to happen. And then I read this book, and uh, I'm supposed to be the supervisor, so basically I'm supposed to give briefing to my crew and like motivate them, whatever. After this book,
Hmm.
I have to go in the briefing and talk about this book. Okay, so what I have to say is that your how hell-bent we are as individuals to actually look at somebody and actually just judge them by their appearance. Like we just look at a person. Like I have had this incident wherein I met the most one of the richest guys, and I thought he was very, very humble. I actually thought he got upgraded by mistake. So I kept
Hmm.
offering him, like I would not name who this person was because there's a possibility that this
Yeah.
person would know. So he's like
Hmm.
the owner of one of the biggest brands, okay? And I was doing this flight. Sorry, I'm talking about my flight incidents instead of talking about the book, but I'll give you
That's
a
okay. No,
perspective.
no, no. Go on.
And
Uh,
so this guy was the only one sitting in business class, and the rest of the people were in economy. So what
uh,
happens is the flight is full, then people get a free upgrade. So he looked
hmm.
so humble that I kept offering him chai pilo, free hai. Offered him biscuit also खा लो ये भी free है. Like I thought this is anyway I'm like that, like I feel like I need to treat people well and do all these things to make them comfortable. He was so awkward and he looked so humble. I cannot even tell you later. I'll tell you who that person was. Okay, and yeah. Later we started talking. And I said, आपका upgrade हो गया था. I just kept telling super random things to this guy, okay? Because I'm just judgy, like just let's just say that, okay? And so then later this guy's like, I have this store, you should go and visit, etc. And I went to a store and I was blown away who this guy was, and
Oh my God.
it's like, oh my god, like I really should like unlearn all these things and like not like
Hmm.
think that this person could be this. So when I read this book, it really made me like think about like how we look at people and just think that okay, this person is going to be. We don't give them a fair chance, let's say.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because in this book when Audrey is like really funny and he's so smart and he's like a really cool friend to be with, but everybody who's looking at him are so hell bent on like how he appears to be. Then of course there is
Hmm.
one part where it's heartbreaking actually to see because I was bullied when I was in school. So there's a part where they talk about plague, why if anybody touches him, you'll get plague. And it is such a sensitive topic, like how kids, parents would want to help their children out the most, but once they are there in that bad world, it's for them to deal with it. So the
तभी
family
homeschool
really
कराना चाहिए.
the family doesn't really, like, cannot do much about it, but Audrey has to deal with all these things, whether it's like one part where he actually goes for Halloween and he realizes one of his closest friends actually thinks, or like at least is has pressurized to say or think that he's actually not his friend. He's actually being his friend because the principal has asked him to. And I think that was really heartbreaking because everybody is so stuck to the fact that okay, Audrey looks this way, so he is this way. And we in general compartmentalize.
वही वही.
People are like
Compartmentalize.
yeah,
Huh.
like I can't say
हाँ.
long words. People, and then we just want them to be a certain way. And I think, like, there are obviously different people in the book other than Audrey, and there is a story from every perspective, what people think, and what is happening, whether it's the teenage where her sister's best friend has really changed and she's like become all cool after summer holidays, which used to happen. So you can actually relate to so much in the book. And yeah, I don't want to share the ending because I'm sure we're going to talk about other things and then we can come to the end because it's my
But
most favorite part.
yeah, but I want to talk about that. I think what really surprised me about Wonder was how instead of telling the whole story from Augie's perspective, she took us to his best friend, to the sister, to the sister's boyfriend, to the sister's ex best friend, and you realize that how you saw them, or how you saw them when you were reading the story from one person's perspective versus
Yeah.
what was actually going on in their heads and their lives was so different. And I mean, I loved that. I loved the way it was written. It was so simple. And I wanted
It
to
was
talk
so
to you
simple.
about
And
that. Yeah.
how like her friend changes and then Audrey's sister's not aware that her friend's parents are actually going through divorce. So she's
Yeah.
really like she's having a really tough time. It's okay, right? We don't believe in spoilers,
No,
etc.
wait, there are no, this is a book club discussion, so we
Book
can
for people
spoil.
who have
Already
already
there,
read
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So I
But don't
sorry
do
if
the
I'm
ending
not
for
getting into the
spoiler
depth of it
discovery.
because I'm not the best person to. I'm not a best like to explain things, but I really know how special this book is for me. And of course, I wanted to choose Durjoy's books because I can go on and on talking about it as well. But we had a discussion that we cannot actually go ahead and promote our own things, which is
I can do it on my own.
yeah. So
You are
and the
like
cover
far
of
more
this
than
book
us.
actually says you can't blend in when you were born to stand out. So I think it's a very like a beautiful thing, and it's also for like average people. It's not just for a person like I know that Audrey has a distorted face, so basically it's shown as like you physically do not appear to be normal for other people. That's why you stand out. But it's also for an average person because there are a lot of people who do not even stand out in that manner. Like you do not have to be deformed to be or like to stand like not
Yeah.
included in the crowd. You can just be an average person and then the crowd will not accept you. So it's for like everybody to read it and feel like you can be the hero. You don't necessarily have to be like fabulous appearance or
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. And I mean, it teaches so much empathy, right? It
yeah.
teaches you the sentence that stood apart the most for me was be kinder than necessary, which I thought was
Yeah.
Yeah.
such great
Oh,
advice.
Is it
oh,
from
it's from
Yeah.
this book. Oh,
Yeah.
I used this sentence so many times,
so many times?
and
Yeah.
I think John, because I remember it coming out of the mouth of John Green. So he must have read this
Read this
book,
book.
recommended it. I would have watched the video, bought the book, because I keep telling people be kinder than necessary. क्योंकि
No,
तुम्हें
Duja tells
Yeah.
me.
I always, yeah, I was always, because she's quick to anger. मैंने कहा कि be kinder than necessary, जो जरूरत भी नहीं है वो कर लो, because क्या पता. So
Which genuinely must be hard for the two of you, right? I mean, the way like how do you deal with now? I want to now another thing that I feel like works very well for both books is that I feel they're very relevant in today's time, which is that we
Yeah.
live in this world of constant social media, hate and trolling, and you guys are both public figures. and with like 100K, how many do you have now, Durjoy?
It's I think
370.
370. Yeah, three.
And you have like 150, right, Avantika?
165.
Doesn't matter. Way more
Doesn't
than
matter,
me.
but okay, I'll give you
Yeah.
that.
But I think
And how do these books sort of help you deal with the kind of like hate and anger that exists on social media today?
So, um, I had a really terrible day yesterday, and it's to do with this. Okay, I just uploaded a video, and where my children are there, and then we live in UAE. For those of you who don't know, and the number of cases in UAE are very limited. Plus,
Mm.
they have crazy precautions here, etc. And I just want to tell you what I do. Basically, I'm an influencer, so I'm supposed to go ahead and be like, oh guys, this is good, this is that, I'm shopping, etc. This is my job. Whether people like it or not, sometimes I'm also amazed what I do because, my friends are like, you're always shopping, and I'm like, I'm not shopping, I'm shooting. So there is a difference,
it's
like
fake.
I'm going to the
It's fake
market.
shopping.
Yeah,
No, this is very nice.
it's very
It's
nice.
fun.
I wear it. Like, have I got any of those things which I showed in the video? No. Okay, so did my kids get pink and yellow yesterday? No. So what happened is that my kids were not wearing a mask, and I just want to tell, like, people are really harsh on you. They think that, like, talking about empathy. What happens is that when you're talking to somebody and you go ahead and make a comment online, people really think that nobody's reading this. Like, you are like
Mm,
not a human, and you'll not read this,
mm,
and nothing will happen to you
mm.
even if you read this, because you're supposed to have a thick skin, because say you're a public figure. You're not a public figure. You just are like a
Your person.
person who has a number of following, whatever. So then they were like, oh, your children are not wearing masks. And I swear, I got like the whole day, I had to delete messages from people saying, your children are wearing masks without having to realize. And they're like young people. 19-20 साल के खुद है. मुझे सिखा रहे हैं
हाँ.
मेरे को कैसे पालना है मेरा बच्चा. So I really feel like, of course there are days like which go really smooth in terms of, like, you're like, one off, I'll delete
Mm,
it, because they
mm.
don't know about WHO's guidelines. They don't know the government has implications that, for those of you probably
So
comment
they
on
say
this
that
video,
do not put. So here they have said do not put masks on little children because a
it's
breathing. Second, they will keep
touching
touching their face,
Mm,
and that
mhm,
exposes them to it, is
more.
what
mm,
they are saying
mm.
here. And plus, in the entire UAE, there are like very low number of cases. So
Yeah.
anyway, this is
Yeah,
the
I
negativity.
have
This
family
is
in Abu
this is the
Dhabi,
whole
so
day yesterday that I was dealing with, and
yeah.
I just wish like people were kinder. Like, they just look at your image and they'll be like, okay, now just let's just say something to her, like, something to this person, because now just suddenly we have learned about
No,
something.
so in that case, I have a very simple rule. Even if you are driven, like absolutely driven to say something to correct that other person's behavior, say all the good things in comments. In the
Huh,
DMs, explain to them that this is your point of view.
huh.
Then at least it's not like a direct attack on you. I'll think that you genuinely care other than just putting out like a comment. And other thing is that when you ask how do we deal with it, one thing with our sort of following of the people who follow us across platforms is that we have uh, a kind of following who intimately know us.
Hmm.
It's not, we have never gone viral, which means that everyone knows us with some context. कि, okay, he's a writer, he's married to this person, he has a kid, this is where they work, and this is what their life looks like. And okay,
Hmm.
if they said one bad thing, we sort of understand where they're coming from. It's not like you just randomly get to know one line out of context. So in that case, we are very lucky that we do not get hate very often. It's very rare. It's very rare. Maybe once in like 3-4 months is a day where,
Yeah, I can't handle hate.
yeah, we both of us can't handle hate at all.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I wish we were like, oh my god, the book really taught us to not like not care about people hating us. But the only thing is that, sometimes you are really driven to say something nasty to that person just to give it back, because that's the instinct,
so this
right?
is what I was telling her, that
That
we have learned uh, things that we should get angry on. we are very quick to spot that. Oh, ये चीज हुआ, इस पे मुझे गुस्सा होना है. Rather than
Hmm.
like it's become a conditioned response. Oh, someone has said this, so my immediate response is, oh, he's a bad person, sort
Yeah.
of a thing.
Hmm.
So we
It's like,
know.
let's say somebody puts a I mean, not like it should not be done.
See, now
Let's say
I'm
plastic straw.
already on the edge. What will she say
Yeah.
that will give us that reaction?
Yeah.
So yeah, plastic straw. So immediately they might be keeping lights on in their house for an eternity, but they know that, oh, इस चीज पे तो मुझे गुस्सा होना है, फटाफट
Yeah,
गुस्सा हो जाता
yeah, it's
है. I
true.
mean,
Yeah.
so
But then, do you empathize with these people? How hard is it for you to?
At that
see,
moment, I don't empathize. I'll be
yeah,
very honest with
at
you.
that
I'll
moment
get very
it's
upset.
very hard.
At least me, I'm very like I'm really like somebody who gets really excited or get very upset very easy. Like I'm this kind of a person, okay? Like
Hmm,
overly
hmm,
over the top, either too happy or like too upset or like something like that.
hmm, hmm.
And so for me, I get very upset. And for Durjoy, he behaves as if he's not affected,
But
but
then I always find a way out. So what happened was that when the first, so I get a couple of negative comments. So what happened yesterday was that I found Atul Khatri had uploaded a video and there was a negative comment, and he had replied to just that negative comment, and all the positive comments were unreplied to,
Right. Yeah.
which is across the board. Everyone does this.
Yes, it's true.
Every one
Yes,
of us does this.
yes, yes.
So I said that let's just reply to all the positive comments that we have got over the last couple of days. And if we have energy left, we'll reply to the negative comment.
Yeah,
So I
that's a
think
good point.
so. I
yeah.
mean, why would you reward people for negative behavior when you're not rewarding people for saying good things, and for even for people saying that, oh, that's a very nice picture, they are taking out time from their life to do that.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
and we just go, okay, nice, 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 nice. तुम गंदे लग रहे हो. यही शिकायत हमारे माँ बाप को की.
So, genuinely speaking, from a macro perspective, how has status anxiety sort of brought all of this social media, this behavior that we have to position our life in a certain way online, to not always tell about the stuff that's underneath everything, the bad stuff that we're dealing with. So, is this book was written in 2004? How do you think it's still relevant in terms of the lives that we
uh,
are living right now?
and when you start reading the book, because before this live, I said that I'll go through the book and go through the few important passages, and I sort of realized that I don't remember the book at all, so I'll have to read the
So
book
was I. I was also going through the.
all over again. But when I was reading it, I realized that uh, the book does not need to be set in any time because it's written so broadly. So it's not
Mm.
written. So if you read it, if you hadn't told me that it was written in 2004, I would have said that it's written in 2020. It is
Oh,
that
wow.
contemporary because what the only change that has happened, because the book is status anxiety. So where you lie um, in terms of your economic prosperity, in your social hierarchy, what
Mm.
people think of your intelligence, etc. Where do you stand on the merit scale? So what 2020 or the past few years have done is that it has made everything very urgent. So if a friend from school has got a promotion as and is the vice president of some company, earlier it would take a couple of months for you to know that.
Yeah.
Now you can know it the very next day. That's why this book suddenly becomes a lot more urgent, that
Wow.
everything is hitting you from all the sides and how to sort of navigate through that. That's the best part that I liked about the book. So so in the book it has chapters that how to feel about your status in a relationship, or at a
Mm.
workplace, or in a
Mm.
society where there are people richer than you. So when you're reading the chapters, you're thinking, okay, I've been in this position once, and by the time you finish it, you're like, okay, all of these things are happening to me right now. So I need answers to it. That's why the
Mm.
book is. I mean, it's so. This is in general. So about Alain De Botton is that he does not make the book very contemporary. Like the book does all his books, they do not seem like it's set in the year that he has written it.
Okay.
It always looks like he has written right, like it came out last year.
Right.
So
That's
uh,
amazing. Yeah, and
Are
I
you
think it's very,
reading this
very
book right
relevant.
after this conversation?
I think she has read it.
No,
I've read it.
She's not
Yeah.
read
Oh,
it.
she does. She hates non-fiction.
I hate nonfiction. It's very hard.
No,
I'm
no,
bored.
read love essays because it
Yeah,
starts
I
off
think
as
that sounds like something I'll like. It doesn't. It does definitely sound like something I'll enjoy. Love essays.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I also don't read non-fiction.
you have read The Secret, please.
Oh,
Anyone who
that
has read The Secret?
that book is my favorite punchline. It's where I go when I need a
It's a
joke.
joke. Wait, it's a joke in my head also. I mean, and it's a joke because anyone who has read it is is such a big fanboy, fangirl of that book. Yeah, I changed, and it has such mumbo jumbo words like manifestations, which like works for so many people, and you don't believe in it, so you get even more angry. That how is this? You want something, you will get it. Many mandra. हम पागल हैं क्या? हम काम कर रहे हैं.
It's yeah, it's the theme of Om Shanti Om. That's the joke we always say to each other. Okay, let's take a few audience questions. Now, I just want to give you guys some context. This is the first time we're doing it on the Books on Toast channel. Usually, we do this on the Shiny Happy Book Club live. But the reason for us to do it here was because we can keep it now for posterity, download it, edit it, re-upload it as an interview. So also it's easier to get questions from people on the Books on Toast live. So let's see, do you guys have any questions? Let's read some of the comments. Someone's calling you world leader. That's funny. Deepa Paul says he's my favorite author. His writing is amazing. Durjoy, that's for you. Someone saying, wow, someone saying, Avantika, I love how you always, damn it, things are moving too fast. I love how you always say what you feel, Anjali Gandhi is saying.
Thank you.
Lots of love for both of you. My God. Oh my God. There are no questions. I don't know how many people have come here from the Shiny Happy Book Club page. Okay, if you guys don't know what we're doing here, we're discussing two books that were curated for the Shiny Happy Book Club by Durjoy and Avantika, The Wonder by R.J. Palacio and Status Anxiety by Alain De Botton. Okay, someone wants to know. Okay, people are saying that with him explaining what the book talks about, I really want to read it. Do you guys have any questions? Do you want to discuss the book in any way? Books. I want to talk about the end of Wonder.
Yeah,
Lord,
let's talk about.
everybody's coming here and telling how they love you, you and me. Guys, कितना और बात करो यार. We know you love us. Okay, someone wants a pun. I have a pun. I have a pun, guys. Um, Avantika, when you are traveling,
Yeah.
uh, Durjoy is Durjoy, right? But when
Yeah.
you're at home, is he near Joy?
That's so good. That is so good.
That is such an obvious joke and yet funny.
But how
Yeah,
can
How
we
many
make
people
the
have
movie
already
as
cracked it
exciting?
around you?
yeah,
Yeah, this is really good.
yeah, near joy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody has done this before.
No, no, no.
No, so they also say, oh, dur joy, joy dur chala gaya, but no one has like framed
Put
it
it
like
this
that.
way. Yeah, it's very nice. Very nice.
Mm.
That's why I have many choices.
Okay. Then before we
Yeah.
wrap this up, you know what we'll also do is we'll share this on our Instagram so that people who want to discuss, who want to have
Yeah,
questions, can come
yeah, let's
and we
do
can
that.
send those to you. But before we wrap this up, I just want to ask you, what was your experience on the Shiny Happy Book Club like? Did it help you in any way? Did the books or revisiting the books help you look at them differently in any way? And what do you think we should do to make this better?
Um, for me, like I almost remembered the book because I have been talking about it all this while. So thank God. But uh, I, there was a time, like when we just started talking about the book, I was really like at a low phase, and then when I revisited, it really cheered me up because like it's like a ride for this little boy as well. And if you actually read this book, there is no way that you cannot be like really overwhelmed and be like happy and teary. And this is the most beautiful thing about the book, that you'll be very sad at some points. You'll be like, oh my god, I am also guilty of doing a certain things that are, like I've told you before, like being judgmental, or like just looking at people and just probably making your mind up that this person's going to be this way. At the same time, his, how his journey comes to an end, and his graduation, I think that was the most beautiful
Amazing.
part
It was
ever. And I
lovely.
have
Yeah.
seen the movie, and usually, like, how people read books and they're always disappointed about, like, how the movies are made, because what happens is that when you're reading a book, you have your own imagination,
There's
and
no
of course
production
this,
budget.
and there is never, like, your imagination never matches
Or
the
or
director's.
the production budget is unlimited.
It's unlimited. Like when
Yeah,
theater
yeah,
came, I इतनी मैंने तो बहुत बड़ा सोचा था. What do you say?
yeah. But sorry, Avantika, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go
Yeah.
on. Sorry, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, and I think it's still I think there should be another, like, something which should be done about this book, because like
We need
something,
another
yeah,
movie,
not another movie, like
a
I feel like,
series,
yeah, like
a
something,
series.
yeah, something more in
Yeah.
depth. Like I don't think the
So the
emotions which were discovered in the book were actually
huh.
touched on, because of course movies are very short.
Oh,
But why am I saying this? Because not everybody reads, and they're like me, most likely. They're not like the two of you who constantly read,
Yeah.
and which is a bad thing because we are on a book club. So we should be like, no, no, book hona chahiye. But seriously, it's a very easy read, and I think what you guys are doing is absolutely amazing, because to actually read, like you used to do that, like, oh, I've read this book, please go ahead and read this, and you're really just doing that in a very, like, a digital format, which is, I think, is amazing. And the feeling, like, everybody was texting me when they were reading, and they were tagging me in their
yeah. Oh,
stories.
yeah. That was the
That,
best
yeah,
thing
yeah,
about the entire activity because
yeah,
when I promote my books, it sometimes it feels like I'm shouting into the void that buy my book, and there is a dread in me that the only reason why they are buying my books is because I'm on Instagram, and they're buying a like it's like selling a t-shirt. Like if I were to sell a t-shirt, I would still sell a few t-shirts. It felt like that. So
Hmm.
for me to see that, okay, I recommended a book and people bought
people
it
bought it.
and people were moved by it, it sort of got me, like there is nothing closer than two people who like the same book.
But I must say that people were reading my book more than his book. Like they were reading more. There were more
Oh, that
people
is
who were
true.
reading the Wonder,
That is
and
true.
then
That is
this
true.
one.
That is true. That is
That's
true.
because
But
it's an easy read, and it's like
hmm.
it's
No,
fast
but
and less
hmm.
heavy. Sorry,
But my
Durjoy.
बोलना था, my status anxiety is a very easy read. Like it's just named very uncommercially, but it is a
It is what
very
it is.
no, but it is a very easy read. So what this did it is that I went back and I saw which book stayed with me for the longest, and then I realized that okay, this is the book, which means that it gave me a lot in the time that I really needed it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
think that is what like this book club thing कि अच्छा अब मैं किसी को बोलूंगा ना कि अच्छा what do you feel about all of this, if I'm not
Hmm.
articulate enough I'll say that read this book, whatever
Hmm.
fears are in the book I feel exactly like this, or if I see someone in the same position I'll say read it, you'll get some perspective.
Hmm.
So
That's amazing. That is
I,
amazing.
I think Anuya might just read it right after this. I have a
Yeah,
feeling.
I feel like reading it now. Yeah. If I do it, Durjoy, you have done what Sharon has been trying to do
no, okay,
for the
one more
last
pitch
year.
about the book, one more pitch, one last pitch कि
Mhm.
इसमें he does not prescribe behavior, he
Hmm.
analyzes other people's behavior
Hmm.
and in a very storytelling format. So snob वाला chapter ऐसे शुरू होता है कि where did the word come from, it is from an abbreviation called S nob, which is without nobility. So you
Oh.
जैसे awful is full of awe, but now the word
Uh,
has become awful. So snob was कि हम नीचे देख रहे हैं, then the meaning changed. तो ऐसे करके शुरू
yeah.
किया वो तो ऑटोमेटिकली इंटरेस्टिंग हो जाता है, but
Yeah.
give it like 10 pages.
Okay, I will. I will. I will. Done.
So, what's your
I'm
favorite
excited.
character just before you go, other than Audrey, uh, in the book?
I think his big sister. I don't remember her name now, obviously,
Okay.
because I read Wonder the day we announced it on the first day, so it was a month ago.
Oh wow, so you finished
But
in a day.
I finished in a day because I'm also going through a massive reading slump because of this corona, and like it's very hard to find books that stay with you. That's why I loved Wonder so much. It really like hooked me from the beginning. And I thought the sister's character was very interesting because it puts you in the shoes of someone who has sort of been sidestepped because the
The
boy
special
needed so
child.
much
Yeah,
love
yeah,
and
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
now
attention.
I
Yeah,
remember. Yes.
special
It is.
child. And you feel really bad for him, but you also see the toll that it took on the sister who loved him,
Yeah,
but also resented him a little bit, but also pitied him a little bit. So,
yeah,
it was such a powerful thing to see from her perspective, which is why
yeah,
I thought she was great, even though she wasn't given much screen time. But then, of course, our
yeah.
little other child is so awesome, and everybody is lovely. I mean, it's marketed as a children's book, but everybody
Yeah, it
needs to
is. It's
read
still
it.
in it's still in the kids section because I could not
Yeah.
find my. I must have given it to somebody. No, actually, I gave it to my friend, and her brother is differently abled. So then I gave it to her because then his hands are deformed, and when I read the book, I could think about her, and I thought like
Mm,
this will
mm,
really help them and their
right.
family. So I gave it to her, and so I just picked it up now, like when we were
Uh,
discussing
uh,
we need to do this, and it was in the kids section. I think it's a good book for children because I must tell you,
it's
like
a
I have
great book for
three
children.
or
Yeah.
who was bullied. I feel like children also, because they are so outspoken, like it's generally seen as like kids need to be like this because they have no filter, whatever. But the children
Yeah.
can be really harsh, and that really like kind of transforms you as a human. Like let's say if you're being bullied and everybody in your class is like, oh, you're like this, we will not talk to you. So then it really like shapes you as a human. So if these kind of books are actually introduced to young children, I think
Mm,
that can really help them understand that you don't have to be mean. Like, you
absolutely.
can be out there, but you don't have to be like, oh, you're like this, like, I don't want to talk to you. So yeah.
Mhm.
When
So
will
it's
you
a
when will you give this to Raina?
I think Durjoy is really good. So I must tell you that all her fairy tales are twisted. Okay, so every tale you have to like. This is a very weird thing to say on the internet. Please don't take it wrong. But sometimes I tell Durjoy, I wish you were my parents. Like the way, only because, only because. Sorry, just don't take it in another manner. Only because how he's raising Raina. Because when he sits
Mm,
down with her and
mm,
there is a simple like toy, like let's say there is a Barbie or like a normal toy, and if you have to listen to their conversations, they're so deep. He's talking about like world economics and other problems and other tales and
No, but
like
but I,
my daughter knows that the whales and the sharks, they eat plastic. So she's like, when I open the book, she'll be like, Mama, this is shark. And then she'll tell me, ये तो plastic खाता है. And then the other starfish, वो तो साबुन खाता है. Like, something like that. Like,
it is to entertain myself. It is no attempt to educate her.
I
It
think
is to make it
I
entertaining
think
for
it's
myself.
really cool. Okay, so I don't have to worry about all
No,
these.
but I tell you. So just one. I think this is going on for really long. But okay,
Sorry.
just one last thing. So when you were saying that kids do not need to be mean because I'm raising her, I realized that it's very easy for them to be mean. it
right.
is it is not really anyone's fault. I think they like
You're
the I think
you're
God makes
inherently,
children mean, and it's
yeah,
for
which is true.
the parents job is to just cut out that meanness. Like that's why the like what do you hear parents say, sharing is caring, sharing is caring, because kids are not meant to share.
They
So
don't
Yeah.
like it.
they are born mean,
Yeah,
and you just have
yeah,
to correct their
yeah.
behavior
It's true.
over the next 15 years. So yeah, this book helps doing that.
Guys,
You
we
know.
have some audience questions. Let's take them before we wrap.
Yeah.
Samriddhi Malhotra is asking Durjoy, does the book provide a prescriptive approach to dealing with status anxiety, or is it more of a dissection of the condition and therefore a useful tool to understand what's happening in your brain?
It's the latter, but
Mm,
I think that just because you go through that exercise, you find the answers to it.
right,
You know,
right.
it's how do I say it? That if I don't know. For me, the process was that okay, something has happened with me. I try to analyze by what I've learned through the book, and when I end up analyzing it, I find oh, it's not a problem at all. Like I understand all the like I understand my perpetrators or my situation's point of view, and I understand my point of view, and then I'm like, okay, it's a non-issue. So
Right.
yeah.
And I lost the link. Where are you? Link. Okay. Avantika, Vishnu's asking which is better, movie or book? Although you've answered that, but let's hear a definitive answer. Which is better, movie or book? Wonder.
Like anybody who's ever read any book and seen any movie, they always will always. I have literally never heard anybody say, "Oh, the movie was better." So yeah, I'll stick to the.
Yeah.
I mean, there is
Yeah.
no way. There is literally no way you can ever do justice to like by making a movie of a book, because you'll never
Yeah.
be able to reach that point. Because as a human mind, like you are able to, like, okay, imagine characters in a certain way, they become your own. That's the problem, because when I imagine Oji, he was my own character in my head. He had a certain image, his sister looked a certain way. When you put people,
Yeah.
it doesn't do
Yeah.
justice to
Yeah.
begin with. Even the star cast is always wrong. Like, no matter what it is, it's always wrong.
So
Like,
there is a thing in publishing circles that do not put human faces on the book of the cover. Let the reader imagine their own characters.
Yeah. I agree.
Don't,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't even put silhouettes so that you know that okay, this is the character's body like.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
put
just
easy stuff.
yeah, because everybody has to, like, you have to make them relatable. So in my
Yeah.
mind, it was like an Indian boy who had like this certain face, and everything was happening in India. I never imagined to be like some
Mm,
अंग्रेज जो इंग्लिश बोलते हैं वहाँ वाली
I had
country.
already seen the trailer, Safed Logo.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had already seen the trailer, so I imagined all of them exactly like that, except for Augie's mother for
Oh.
some reason. But
Sometimes
yeah,
it's not
but you're
just.
right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, which also helps sometimes. It
Yeah,
brings the
because
story
I
alive.
remember I watched Sarkar before I read Godfather, and I was like, हाँ अमिताभ बच्चन ही तो है ये कॉर्लियोनी.
Wow, what a comparison!
Yeah.
What a comparison! And I think on that note, we've gone for an hour, which is the longest live we've done for Shiny Happy Book Club.
Sorry, we are so
Sorry,
But this is the
talkative.
first time we had two curators, so I think it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, please
Thank
join
you
me
guys.
again in December or something.
Yeah, yeah, maybe we do four books.
yeah.
But thank you guys so much for coming, for picking such wonderful books
Thank
and
you.
for
Thank
doing
Thank
you.
you.
with,
Really
with
had fun.
us.
Thank you.
And
Yeah,
I'm
we
really happy I actually got to share the screen with you, Anuya. Like, it's like an honor for me. I swear to God, like, I feel like
stop
so,
it.
like I'm like on top of the world, like I was on Anuya's show. Like I feel like I am some privileged, like, person. Suddenly,
Stop
I'm
it.
also like sophisticated पढ़ा लिखा इंसान.
I made a pooping joke within a minute of interviewing Shashi Tharoor. Okay. Whenever you're like, wow, she's so smart, remember that that I did that. And I don't even feel bad about it. I feel like that is one of my greatest achievements in life. So
Well,
just remember that about me. All I wanted to do was make a poop joke around Shashi Tharoor. So that's my definition. That's who I want you to think of me as every time
no,
you think of me. Made
no, I
poop joke.
think what I think of you.
Cool.
Fine. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks guys, everybody
Thank
who's
you,
watching
Thank
and everybody
you.
thank
who
Thank
you,
you.
watched
thank
and
you.
all the comments. And if there are more points to discuss, I will definitely share them with you. Maybe we can do video
Please.
calls or videos, short
Yeah,
videos,
yeah,
or just
yeah. We
audio.
don't mind, like, because I think
Done.
we were so busy that I don't think we did a
Yeah.
lot.
And if I
Um,
manage to sway Anuya into reading a non-fiction book, I think that's a big win.
yeah.
Books on
Yeah,
Toast.
it
Half
is.
of Books on Toast is now reading non-fiction. Very important for Books on Toast as a community. So
Sharon
yeah.
reads. She gave me one on my birthday also. I still haven't finished it. 2 years ago, she gave me. It wasn't even traditional nonfiction. It was some rock people doing things or whatever. I don't care. Anyway, she's gonna hate me for this. But thank you guys. Thank you. Have
Thank
a
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank
wonderful
you.
Thank you.
Bye,
time
Anuya.
in your city, which is not quarantined.
Yeah. Sorry, just come here soon, and we both love you.
Yes, I
And I
will.
love
I
to
am
shop.
going to do it. You know, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to expect
Yeah,
all sorts
please
of
do.
hospitality. So
Yeah,
that's
please
going
do.
to,
And I'll
yeah.
take you shopping. Maybe we'll not buy anything, but we can pretend.
Yeah, it'll be like a montage.
Yeah,
हाँ okay.
yeah, done.
कपड़े खरीदे फोटो खींचे वापस.
हाँ.
Bye,
चलो.
guys.
Bye 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 bye.